The reason I ended up in prison incarceration was because of a racial incident. I was at a bar one night with some guys, with some friends of mine and some females of mine, and this white guy just decided that he wanted to pick a fight with the black guy in the suit. So he ended up getting like kicked out the bar, and because he couldn't beat up the bartender that was a big black guy, he decided he wanted to pick on the first black guy walked out the bar, and that was me. So we got into it. He ended up getting stabbed 8 times. I got charged with it because I was the black face in the bar. They just assumed it was me. Got convicted. Got 15 years, 5 in, 10 out probation, extended supervision, so I can never get off so I have to do my whole full probation stint, all because someone called me a nigger. So I gave up my kids, I gave up my life, pretty much gave up everything for a racial incident. I was on a roller coaster to go to hell anyway, or to be killed. So they gave me a chance to sit down and get my thoughts together for 5 years, 5.5 years. So when doing that, I decided to start reading. Started reading business books, any business books I can get my hand on. Started reading like any real estate books I can get my hands on. I took that time in prison to just learn, learn about myself. I read 4 or 5 books a week, and I just kept my head in a book. When I look back, I just kept my head in books. So, as far as dealing with my kids, that was hard because my son, he was 12 when I went in. I think he was 12 or 13 when I went in. So I pretty much missed most of his high school years, most of his adult formative years. So there's trauma there, and like I can see the trauma in all of my children. Like each one of them, they have individual views of how I left them. They like they say, I just like, and I did. Just one day I was there, and the next day I wasn't. So that was really hard on my children. Well, I made a decision in prison that when I got out, I was going to find a way to start. I was going to start a business and get into real estate. So I had 2 goals that I did accomplish. That I said when I get out, I'm not coming back. Getting out of prison, I needed the paradigm shift I needed when I got out of prison was mainly a continued struggle that men of color go through, ex-prisoners go through. That was such a big struggle and such a hard thing to get over that it forced me to have a paradigm shift. It forced me to say, hey, I need to do things different, or this, and this will keep happening. And I just didn't want that. And so I got attributed to thank a friend of mine, Antoine. He's one guy I was raised with. He asked me, what am I waiting for? And it was really just that simple. He was like, what are you waiting for? Why you ain't did it yet? And at this point, I had been out like 3 or 4 months. So he was right. It was like, and that night I started, to get off my hands. So when I got home, I was like, it's time for you to get off your hands and actually do something. So at that point, like literally the next day, I started reaching out to Madison Urban Ministries, and I started reaching out to like the Boys and Girls Club and Fountain of Life Church. And I started reaching out to people trying to hold myself accountable. So it's just a matter, it was like, it's time to find an investor and get your license. And so I ended up getting connected to a guy in real estate that owned the dry cleaners. And I interned with him for like 9 months. I worked for free at his office for 9 months. And the only thing I asked him is just teach me about real estate. So and that was in Wanakee. So like after the 8th or 9th month, he just came to me and was like, hey, I love your work ethic. I love, you're a very hard worker. You show up every day, even though you don't have to. And he was like, "Hey, would you like an opportunity? I want to sell the business. Would you want to buy it?" And so that was a definitely yes. And just so happened around that time, I was trying to find funds from investors. So I ended up coming up with some investor money. So that was enough for the down payment for the business. And yeah, my life pretty much changed after that. So I have accomplished one of my goals. I said I wanted to help the community and build wealth. So my thing is, I love money. I love building wealth, and I love helping people. So I tried to I'm trying to mix those in together and create some generational wealth for all of us. And in my head, the only way we can do that is through real estate. So that's why that's why I do what I do now. And it's it's my passion. It's what I love waking up to do. So my goal is to do things that actually impacts the community as a whole. And again, the only way I can do that is he who has a goal makes the rules. So although I love the nonprofit space, and I love being in that space, I think that we should have some wealth in that space also, that we need people that actually own their own businesses and people that actually own real estate, and they have assets that they can bring back to people. The black man has been removed out the home, and I feel as though in order for us to actually have change, people need to see someone successful that looks like them. People need to see someone that actually, is doing the work that needs to be done. People respect that more. And I've gotten, I feel as though I get more respect in the streets and in the community because people actually see me. They actually see me doing the work in the streets. So I stopped thinking negative. I took negative. I stopped trying to say negative words like I can't, I won't. Stuff I was used to saying, being disabled or just, being black, I guess. So I try to remove certain negative energy out of my space to let the positive energy. They say if you let the positive energy in, it'll guide you to that space. And I can say that is so true. I feel as though God is just guiding me to a place that, to a great place, in my life. And I need to, accept that. And I feel as though that's where I'm at in my life right now. Is, I have the confidence where I feel like I can actually make positive change and, and make power moves for black folks in Madison and Dane County.